Hello everyone, welcome to A Great Alternative. Today it's just going to be a fairly quick one. I'm just going to detail what we've planted so far in the land and why we did it.
No, it's not. Jason lied. He forgot a load, so here we go. I can't do it because you're watching me.
How does it feel to be planting the very first thing on this land?
No, I've not started trying to dig a hole yet.
I guess we should get started. Okay. I do want to apologise, I'm doing this. It was meant to be a really lovely, sunny, not windy day at all, but it's not how it's turned out. So I do apologise about the wind. So first thing to note is that we're not living on the land, and also partly because of that, and partly because it's just a good practice is not to get too carried away, to see the land and see your homestead through the season before you really start changing it and making it your own. Now, that's easier said than done, and it's been really hard. We've had to kind of rein ourselves in and not get too carried away, especially myself. Alicia's had to rein me in from getting too carried away. But we wanted to just get some perennials in that are gonna hopefully start giving us food, and probably need, you know, a number of years before they're actually producing a good enough crop. So first of all, I'll start with what's behind me. So we've got apple, plum, cherry, pear, and then we've got some walnut and some cob nuts, hazelnuts bushes as well. And then back over that way, up near what is now going to be called Berry Lane, we've got a whole range of berries, so much that I can't remember what they're all called, so I'm going to have to read them out off my notes. They are gooseberry, mulberry, loganberry, lingonberry, dewberry, tayberry, raspberry, blackberry, blackcurrant, redcurrant, whitecurrant, and boysenberry. Now, do you want that again? Okay, ready? Hold on. Gooseberry, mulberry, loganberry, lingonberry, dewberry, tayberry, raspberry, blackberry, blackcurrant, redcurrant, whitecurrant, and boysenberry. Okay. Most of those were bought this year. However, some were transported from our previous house. They're ones that we picked up when we went and picked up the willow from where we used to live. Some very kind neighbours of ours had looked after basically everything that we had in pots. And that included a couple of honeyberry, which I don't even mention, honeyberry, and a loganberry, and some blueberries. So they're about 3 years old at the moment. We do want them spaced fairly far apart, partly because we're going to hopefully run pigs and chickens and things in between this, and we also just want to make it easy for us to harvest, basically. I'll put some notes on the screen now of the types of rootstocks that we got. So our ideas are thinking that we do want them to grow to a fairly mature tree. We don't want to do anything specific in that keeping them small, really, but at the same time it still needs to be manageable for myself and Alicia. So in time we plan to make them basically as big as they can get while still being manageable. When planting, we followed some advice that Alicia had got on a Facebook group called Diggers and Dreamers that she's found really helpful, and thank you everyone who commented and gave us this advice. It's a method of planting to try and sort of not disturb the soil as much as possible. So what we did was we cut in a cross into the ground, and then basically, to me, it reminds me of like an alien thing. Where you just kind of like peel the grass back. So after peeling back the grass, you try and get the roots in. Yes, we did till up a little bit of some of the soil so that it wasn't just solid in there, but then you just fold it back over and fold it back into itself. The idea being in this method is that it's disturbing the soil as little as possible, and that you're trying to not create kind of like a bowl for water to accumulate at the bottom of kind of a ditch that you've dug. Each tree has had a stake driven in, some of them bigger than others because they were all things that were for free. Either some of them are proper, fairly sizable stakes, some of which, like this one, it's not really very big enough. This is a bit of willow that was left over. And then others are ones that I actually collected just after Storm Eunice from roads and paths, and I helped myself to a couple of fallen branches while I was clearing. And then as well as that, we didn't have enough money for a mulch or a weed suppressing membrane to go around the trees. So therefore, a lot of them have either had basically the packaging that the trees came in, which was a mix of like straw and paper, then like this one with kind of rocks to just hold all that down for the time being. Some of which had leaf mulch that I'd collected last year and then kind of broken it up to try and make it as small as possible. And that's it. I thought there was more, but there's not. That's it. We will keep an eye on this and try and obviously pull any weeds that we can. Unlike the willow that we did, if you haven't seen that video, the willow was just planted straight in the grass, but that's because it should do a lot better. And also because, yes, we wanted to grow this year. Yes, I wanted to be successful, but not as much money went into that. So we're willing to risk that a little bit more. Whereas these trees, we wanted to put the time and effort and try and give them the best opportunity that we can, or the best chance that we can, while basically still spending as little money as possible. The berries were done in a similar method, just not necessarily with a cross. Sometimes they were, because they were quite small, it was enough to just kind of create like a, just a slit and then open it up, put them in, close the slit again, and that's it. It's a bit of an experiment. I've never planted anything like that before, so we'll see how it goes.
So one of the perennials we planted that isn't a tree or a berry bush is rhubarb. It's one that we love. In theory it's going to grow really well, but we'll see. We planted 4 hearts of it, one which already has been munched down to the ground, so we don't know what got that. But yeah, this is our little rhubarb corner. So we've got more flowers behind us. This is tulips. This is where I first tried planting all the flowers, but this bed is so rocky that after doing the ones behind me, I got fed up because it had taken so long, so then planted them over in the other bed, which technically was supposed to be just for garlic and onions, which it does have in it, but also now some flowers. It seems that the camera mic was not too happy with the little bit of wind that cropped up around this bit, so I'm having to re-record for you. But basically this is the strawberry patch and the asparagus patch. Luckily, despite the dry weather at the minute, the strawberries seem to be doing okay. And over on this side is the asparagus patch. This does not look so healthy. I'm not quite sure why that is. Hopefully we can sort it out, or we'll at least get something next year. In this bed are planted some perennial flowers, so quite a few different flower bulbs. I could attempt to list them off for you, but I can't remember what they are and I don't have the packets right now. These were planted to encourage the bees and other pollinating insects that we'll need to the area surrounding our vegetables, but unfortunately this wasn't actually where we originally planned for them to be planted. The other bed was too rocky. Also because this bed was primarily meant for just onions and garlic, which is what is on the other side, but luckily we still had enough space for everything we wanted to plant, so it worked out quite well in the end. Again, I don't know if these are doing as well as they could be doing. Things are a bit dry. The year is definitely not going the way the weather should be going for this time of year. But hopefully they will continue to thrive and come back next year.
Where should we put it? So that's it for today, everyone. Before you go though, I do want to ask you a question. One thing that's been really tricky for us is to try and figure out what to get and where to put it. Because in essence, we're kind of starting with, yes, we've got some borders, but we're kind of starting with a big empty slate. If you were to do the same, if you were to start with a big open field that had, let's say, just enough space to do what you wanted to do, what would you prioritize? What would you do first, and how would you do it? Please comment down below. I'll also be doing some updates as the year goes on, as well as in years to come, about how things are getting on. So if you're interested in that, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell and all those things. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.